Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You had your lunch. Can you turn to your neighbor as far as you can say, "You are awesome"?
You're awesome. Yeah. So yes.
Recognise faces.
Impact of youth work.
I don't know, it's youth-led research or something. It's the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sure it's going to be good.
Yes. So, my name is John, and I'm your friendly moderator. What I do is I'm just going to sit here quietly. It will be a fantastic session because we are going to see or learn from our colleagues here. Two of them are in real life, in the flash. Two more are captured inside the window. Hello, say hi. Right. So I thought they're from YouthLink Scotland. And I thought it best that if they introduce themselves and the flow. And be prepared to do stuff together, okay? Because if you don't, then I'll be. All right. So with that, round of applause for.
No, come and sit down.
So yeah, let's all just introduce ourselves very quickly. Welcome, thank you for coming along this afternoon. I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you about this topic. I'm Jill. I work in the Youth Work in Schools Partnerships team within YouthLink Scotland, which is the national agency for youth work in Scotland. And I'm here with my colleague Liz. Liz.
I'm Liz. I'm Workforce and Practice Manager at YouthLink Scotland, so lead on our sort of workforce development, training, and some thematic areas of youth work practice development.
And as John mentioned, we're also joined by two other colleagues. Amy.
Hi everyone, sorry we can't be there in person. I'm Amy Calder, I'm the Senior Policy and Research Officer at YouthLink, and I lead on using participatory research methods to explore the impact of youth work on young people's lives. And I'm joined by Bonnie.
Hi, I'm Bonnie and I'm doing a 4-week placement with YouthLink Scotland through the Career Ready programme where Amy's my mentor.
Thanks, Bonnie. So I'm trying to click us through now. Oh, here we go. Brilliant. So in terms of the session this afternoon, I'm hoping this is kind of what you're expecting. We're looking to share not just our perspectives, but your perspectives on impact and impact measurement in youth work. And really to kind of think together about how is it possible to do evaluation and impact measurement in a youth work way, in a way that kind of aligns with the practice and the values of youth work. Amy and Bonnie are going to take us through an example of how we've approached that in some of our work in Scotland. And then I'm going to talk a little bit at the end about the Scottish National Youth Work Outcomes and Skills Framework, which is a kind of culmination but an ongoing kind of evolution of all of that work that we've been doing. But we wanted to start with a conversation first. So we've got a couple of questions for you. For those of you in the room, it's kind of paired up, so find one other person, ideally somebody you've not spoken to yet in the conference. And we've got a couple of questions. So how would you describe the impact of youth work on young people based on experience in your own context? And do you try to systematically evaluate and measure the impact of youth work? And if you do, what kind of measures are you using at the moment? So it's a paired up conversation if you're here in the room. If you're online, then you can contribute through that Menti survey. But actually for people in the room as well, if you can add, as you have your conversation, if you can add your contributions to the Menti, that would be great too. We're going to give you about between 5 and 10 minutes to do that.
Right, thanks so much everyone. So now we want to hear a little bit about what you've discussed. Thanks so much, everyone. Now we want to hear a little bit about what you've discussed.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't you see like a youth work thing? If you can hear me, clap once. No. Okay, so we'd love to hear a little bit about what you've discussed. So we've some people have put in the Menti some of their thoughts about what is the impact of youth work. We also have lots of discussion in the room. So what kinds of things were coming up in your conversations? So we've got empowerment, obviously the biggest data set there. That it's life-changing. We heard life-changing and life-saving earlier. Confidence, self-awareness, skill development. What kinds of things came up in your conversations? Joy, that's wonderful. Yeah. Great for young people and for youth workers. But do you want to speak a bit more about it?
I was going to say, we talked about joy and actually also about young people, where we started from. The act doesn't have to be the starting point, and space, those that facilitate space, you understand that. For me, it's beautiful to see young people take opportunities and can go and be able to divert potential and bad situations because of away from or being together in different spaces. So there's a lot of joy in that for as a facilitator, but also you can see that within people.
Yeah, oh, I totally hear that. And sometimes, you know, it's so long-term youth work, isn't it? Sometimes that joy comes when you bump into somebody 10 years later and you're like, oh wow, you did this in your life. Oh, I'm so happy. Does anyone else want to share? Thank you.
Subjective experience, and young people go through this process throughout different stages of their life, and therefore the impact will be different at those different stages of life. So it's really difficult to kind of encapsulate it in a word or a number of phrases because it is so subjective, and young people may not necessarily recognise the impact until years and years and years later. So I think it's really difficult to come up with a word or a frame of words. We were saying it's potentially, you know, limited, it's multifaceted, there's a number of impacts.
Thank you, and that's teed up a whole good few conversations we're going to have later. Yes.
We'll be talking about empowerment, which is over there, and then we talk about the wellness and attitude, positive attitude, and we talk about engagement, community engagement, where it is. So basically, that's what we have been talking.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Thank you. And is that, have you, I mean, that's a really wide-ranging impact in sort of personal and then reaching out more widely in community. It's a bit like the presentation yesterday.
Yeah, I think the impact of it, I think it has a big role to play in modeling, refining and reshaping the minds of peers, and also it also give that inspiration to take action. Because young people, once you distinguish yourself, sometimes within your local community through your works and consistency, get to engage indirectly others to look at you quite different and want to also become like you sometimes. So somehow people might not be close to you, but they are inspired from afar and also wish to meet you and do the same thing. So I think those are some impact. Then secondly, it also helps in reducing radicalization, also to counter violent extremist actions, because within our fragile governance systems, we realize that sometimes the government cannot really employ everyone, cannot really support everyone, and sometimes when we talk about youth work, sometimes the minds achieved through youth work can sometimes also be part of that solution in engaging young people to shy away from radicalized actions in engaging government for action, because sometimes people think that it's through violence actions that the government will be able to hear and take action. So it minimizes conflict, death, and a lot of suffering. So this is some impact. Then lastly, I think we want also part of the impact is that it contributes in addressing global issues at local levels. We are talking about the global goals of the UN. There are 17 of them, from health, climate change, food security, and so on. So you realize that youth work also help accelerate the achievement of the goal, but indirectly, sometimes they might not have the resources adequately to do that. But at their own micro levels, they are engaging gradually in curbing those issues at local levels through community engagement, mobilizing their friends to do cleanup campaign, health screening, and so on. So I think those are just part of the things that youth work brings on the table as impact, and there's high need for us to promote the youth work. I think that is through collaboration and so on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and that's really good to bring up, to hear about all of the different contexts and the different impacts that are brought, and also that challenge around resource to make it possible. We're going to move on to the next question that you're probably going to have to get in. So just going to move on to the next question on the mentee, if that's okay. which is, and what kind of measures of impact do you use? And these things are really closely connected. So if you want to see.
Yeah, my comment still works with this one as well. It kind of piggybacks on what Lydia there was saying and what something Jacob mentioned in the plenary this morning. I think part of the real privilege and challenge of youth work is we're sowing incremental seeds week in, week out with these young people. And there may be short-term fruit, fantastic, let's celebrate that. But actually, the real measures, which are pretty unmeasurable actually, are what's the impact on people who have been young people in groups when they're 25, 30, as they continue to develop? How is the role of youth work really shaped and developed their personal lives? And from a kind of a measuring point of view, that's really difficult to quantify. But our impact is long term, and I would hate for that to get missed if we kind of focus too much on the immediate term.
Absolutely, and the role that those adults have in society later. My personal experience of being in youth work is that a whole load of people that I was a young person with in youth work have all gone on to have like really pro-social jobs that without that youth work experience we might not have done, and that sort of thing. So yeah, so many wide things. I'm going to come back to Minty in a second. Just if there's anyone online who also wants to chip in by raising your hand, I believe we're able to do that, so do let us know. But can I see the Minty? The case studies was a key one that came up in the Minty. Distance travelled, so at the time, and then maybe linking in with that longitudinal thing that you've spoken about and that Jacob mentioned this morning, and quantitative data. Okay, so a really broad stretch of qualitative, quantitative. How do we make this meaningful? Well, we'll talk later about how to make this meaningful. Any other thoughts from your conversations in the room about how you're currently measuring impact in your settings? Yes, at the back there.
No, we just had a discussion just about some of the things that are measured, and we were just saying that we feel that a lot of it's funder-led. So everything that's being measured is either to prove to the funder that the programme has had an impact, or in order to get more funding. And I think the smaller things, so for example, just a young person walking through the door might be a massive achievement for that young person, youth worker. But that's just like kind of forgotten or left. So yeah, it's just interesting. That was just a thought.
Yeah, that's so important. And I think one of the, I mean, we'll be sharing our frameworks later, but one of the reasons why the sector in Scotland has developed our frameworks is kind of as a response to that, to say, well, we've got these things are an end in themselves within, for young people within youth work, and we'll show you how that fits with your funding. But this is, so that's such an important point. Any other sort of ways that you're measuring impact in your context?
Surveys.
So
oftentimes when we do happen to do, let's say, a workshop, we draft up to send out a online survey. We're just detailing, have you been to this X, Y, Z workshop before? And what are your feelings about, let's say, mental well-being at the moment? And then, of course, if it is a workshop that's we're going to do, for example, a long period of time, or a session once a week for a month, then we basically do, for example, an aftermath after survey, as in sort of a conclusion of a survey, just discussing, okay, now that you've been through these sessions, how do you feel right now? So essentially a compare and contrast motion in terms of just analysing the data, but also just to translate it through the reports.
Great, thank you. I think there was someone over here, and then come to you, and then think online.
Hi. We use a mix of methods. Like, we make sure we debrief every night, and we put like the quantitative and qualitative stuff in there, and then we use like LEQs, which are accredited tools. But we also use these. So I'm saying we work in Islington, and we use the Scottish framework for the indicators, because it's an open access setting and it maps it. And I tell my young people like about the indicators they've got sometimes, and they love to hear about it, especially when like, if you make a new friend, or like you did this. So yeah, it's nice to be transparent with them.
Oh, that's great, and thank you for the really good, useful feedback from that's fantastic.
I think part of the measures, sometimes before we carry out the we need to track the impact. We do community consultation. It's essential sometimes before we go with the project and activity to engage the youth. There's this pre consultation sometimes with them, like random sampling, one-on-one questionnaire. You can interview them. What do you think about this community? What are the major issues? We drop and drop issues, whatever. And when this consultation is done with them, we're able to come up with what is best at the moment in that locality. And after the event, because we want to make sure they are available to participate and to contribute, because at the end, the feedback or the recommendation proposal is to help the community. After that, we always do post evaluation, maybe after the meeting, to give feedback if they're able to meet up with the objective of the event and so on. So those are the two ways we try to measure impact also for those who are the beneficiary or a particular project or activity.
Great, thank you. And that's really useful, a couple of different examples about sort of building in indicators or planning sort of early and then later, and like both of you said, yeah. Brilliant, thank you so much for your feedback. Right, let's pass back to Jill and we'll have more chats a little bit later.
So yeah, we've got another bit of chat for you, which actually links to some of what people were saying about this is so hard to quantify, and it's long term and it's nuanced and it's all of these things. So we just want you to spend 5 minutes, probably in a slightly bigger group this time, so maybe turn around and speak to the people behind you or in front of you. And we just want to hear your kind of almost your response to that statement, which is kind of saying youth work has its own unique pedagogy. And the nature of that just makes it really difficult to do traditional kind of impact measurement. Discuss. So yeah, take 5 minutes, and if you're online, if you can go to the Padlet, you can put your comments in the Padlet. Thank you.
Come back together and share some of your thoughts.
Not what you are, but it's quite different.
We're going to come back together and share thoughts. We've probably only got time to hear from 2 or 3 groups. So be really interested to hear which side of this debate you came down on in your group and why. If you did, I mean, we know that youth workers and like have a lot of wide conversations, and getting us down to one opinion is obviously challenging. Yeah, so where did you sort of, what did you think about this debate and why? We have time for probably 2 or 3 groups to feedback.
Yeah, absolutely damaging. Don't do it at all. Anything can be damaging if done properly. What we just ended on was if young people feel like they're just a number or a stats or under the microscope, or they're just they're not valued as human beings. They're just valued as something. Yeah, it can be damaging, but if done appropriately in the right way, based on a proper trusted relationship that you have with them, then I would argue it's the opposite. They would be more than happy to contribute to the impact and want to demonstrate the value because they're getting so much value from the relationship.
Thank you. Another group want to share at the back?
I think we had a really long, deep conversation, but really interesting conversation. I think it's a conversation I've been having for a long time, just from my own frustrations being a practitioner. And this is why I've kind of gone into the route of evaluation and measuring impact, but still struggling and doing a tug of war around, I guess, where does research and evaluation come from, the kind of colonial aspect, ecology, really thinking about if we're anti-oppressive in our youth work practice, our data collection also and our measuring impacts also has to be anti-oppressive, and understanding like how do young people feel at the end of session. You've had a great, amazing session. They feel good, you feel good, and then they have to do this very formal, inaccessible sometimes. Most of the time, we need things done really quickly, quantitative data, surveys. They're in a place of actually neurodiversity as well, accessibility for young people to fill out these kind of long psychometric sometimes measures if we're measuring well-being. It's not always accessible to the young people. So we're thinking, if we can get away with not doing it, we will do that. If we have to do it, then it has to be, really balancing the power of young people, making sure they're a part of the evaluation process. They're designing things that work for them in their ways, and it's their stories. told because they want to tell their stories rather than we need it for the funding of the organisation. It's led by them.
Thank you so much. Final point.
Yeah, based on the conversation which our team had and what also I was looking at impact as we're talking about not being guaranteed, about measure. And the first thing I want us to know is that when you tell what youth work, the team or the individual or the association that is engaging in this knows best the roadmap, what they want to achieve. Because the bottom line is that for females, we get in terms of the impact or the outreach that they are creating out there. Because in as much as probably you're trying to create this impact in terms of the youth work you're doing, be mindful that the people who are beneficial, they have their own innate goals or potential which they want to. So sometimes you might be talking better to orientate them. They also have to pay attention that they might not necessarily, follow just what you're saying. So you have to be very keen to see the area of interest and also give support in that domain. That's the way you can guarantee monitoring. But without that, just being holistic, then you're not a guarantee to measure the impact because they might be present in a session, but at the end, they don't really take it into action.
Thank you so much. Those are all really interesting points about, young people fully buying into it and what can they get out of the process, the how, why, where, and when, and doing it in partnership with and the planning in partnership with young people as we do our practice as well. Brilliant. Thank you all so much. And hopefully you'll see those themes being picked up in the other sort of parts of the workshop.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, so a bit to the gentleman here is talking about, yes, if it's done in the right way, I think that's kind of where we've got to across the sector in Scotland mostly. So I guess our view would be that, yes, we need to do this as long as it's a process that puts young people at the centre, that's really focused on strengths and progress, that's collaborative, both with young people and with partners and stakeholders, and that it's done with and not done to. So when we talk about co-production, don't mean lots of settings, but it's kind of how do you co-produce evaluation with young people, and then really importantly that it's focused on learning. So there's a real kind of so what, you have to use the data. The data is not just for the funder. The data is for supporting conversations about young people's progress and about programme development and so on. So we would say it is absolutely important to invest in evaluating impact with the young person in mind particularly, because we believe that, evaluation done well means that young people can notice and make sense of and articulate the change that's happening for them. And they can be more informed about kind of onward support and progression that they want. But also it's massively valuable for us as youth work practitioners because it's going to inform our programme design and delivery. It might inform wider strategic planning conversations. And it also supports workforce and partnership development. As somebody who's done evaluation with young people in a youth work setting, it's one of the most motivating, or it can be one of the most motivating things that you do, I think, as a practitioner, because when you really have those reflective conversations with young people, it kind of helps you understand the difference also. And yes, it strengthens the case for investment, and yes, it's important for funders, but if that's why we're doing it, we're probably not going to be doing it in the most effective way. So I'm going to hand across to Amy, who has been involved in leading a youth-led piece of evaluation in Scotland, to talk more about that process. And Amy, could you just give me a shout when you want me to change slides?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Jill. Yeah, ideal. That's brilliant. Right, so yes, hi everybody again, and sorry we can't be there in person. So we're going to be talking to you about a research methodology that we've been using called transformative evaluation, and we've been using this to understand the impact of youth work. And you all met Bonnie earlier, and Bonnie's really kindly agreed to read out 2 stories from young people who'd shared their stories about the impact that youth work had on their lives. So Bonnie's just going to read one story for us now.
So a young person, aged 13. Looking back, coming here has been a great experience because we always have a choice. They never tell us we need to do something, unlike at school. They always help us and show us new things that we probably never thought we would enjoy, but we end up liking. They are always there for us. When we are sad, they are there. There's never been one time that they have not been there to help. The trips they take us on are decided, but they always give us a choice if we want to do it. They never give up on us. It is like our blood. Whenever we or others miss the clubs, it's like we miss out on something fun. It is a part of us and always will be.
Fantastic. Thanks, Bonnie. Really well read. So, Jill, would you mind going to the next slide? Thank you. So what did we want to achieve with this evaluation? So we really wanted to understand the impact that youth work was having on young people's lives. But we also wanted to understand what was the process. So what is it that youth workers are doing that help contribute to that impact for young people? And so we, back in 2015, the Edinburgh Youth Work Consortium and the University of Edinburgh, they conducted some research and they did a review. And they told us that universal youth work has the potential to contribute to a range of important outcomes and achievements for young people, in particular health and well-being, educational attainment and employment. That said, the youth work sector needs to be more informed about the nature and purpose of their impact through ongoing longitudinal research. And that really gave us the justification to think about. We know that youth work has a transformational impact on young people, but we knew we needed to do some research to develop that evidence base so we would understand what that impact is and what youth work is doing in that space. And so since that time, we've done 4 studies. And you can see them on your screen, and I'll be happy to put them in the chat in a little bit as well. And we did a national study back in 2018, and that was across Scotland. We did another one in Dumfries and Galloway, that time at a local authority level. And then we did one in Edinburgh, and that at that point was with the voluntary sector. And then during the first lockdown, we did a slightly different study where we were looking at the impact of LGBT Youth Scotland's digital youth work. So that was during that kind of first lockdown. And in total, across those 4 studies, 347 young people have shared the story of the impact that youth work had on their lives. And I'm also conducting another study at the moment in Dumfries and Galloway again, but this time it's looking at a more targeted provision, and it's looking about youth workers who've been trained to become counsellors and the impact that that's having in the schools in Dumfries and Galloway. So that one will be released later in the year. Thanks, Jill. Would you mind moving to the next slide? So what is transformative evaluation then? So there's 4 stages to it, and it's a research methodology. It's a participatory research methodology that's been developed by Dr. Sue Cooper back in 2018. And there's 4 stages. So the first stage is what we call story generation. And this is about us training youth workers to become the researchers. So it's about them, supporting them to collect stories from young people about the impact that youth work's had on their lives. So it's about them collecting that story, and it's about asking just a reflective question to the young person. And that question might be something like, looking back, what change has occurred for you as a result of taking part in youth work? And so the young person shares the story in any way that they're comfortable. And then the youth worker contextualizes that story. So they write another story that accompanies the young person's story. And in that, they'll talk about the impact that youth work's had, but also they'll talk about what it is that they've done. So they'll reflect on their own practice that contributed to that impact. And that creates this co-authored significant change story. And that's what we Bonnie read one part of that in terms of the young person's story, but there is always a youth worker statement that accompanies that. In stage 2, we then work with a small group of those youth workers who help us. They join the research team and they help us to what we call code the stories. By coding the stories, what we mean there is that they're just pulling out all of those key themes that come from the stories. So we read all the stories together in a kind of a co-collection kind of process, in a co-coding process. So they collect, we read the stories, they pull out the key themes, and then that's what we use to analyse. In stage 3, we invite stakeholders to come along, and that'd be people that we want to influence in the local community. So Jill mentioned before about investment, so that might be a part of it. It might be trying to kind of influence people who are making the budgeting decisions, but it might be also people who we want to influence about from different communities or different sectors that we want to understand the impact that youth work's having. So they're invited to come along to a session where they hear some of those stories for themselves in person. And the fourth part of the methodology is about fine-tuning. So this is a really reflective methodology. So it is about thinking about that process and the impact that being part of this process has had on the young people involved and the youth workers involved. And it helps us to make decisions in the future when we ever use the methodology for future studies. Brilliant. Could you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So going back to what Jill was talking about before in terms of the evaluation principles, why we choose to use this transformative evaluation is because, and I hope I've made that clear, young people are at the centre of it. So young people are sharing their story in their way to a youth worker who they have that trusted relationship with. It is strengths-based, and so young people, and that's one of the things for us to say, is that young people are chosen because they have experienced significant change. So in that way, we would say it's a biased sample because we're not looking for young people who haven't experienced change or anything like that. We're looking specifically at those who have experienced a significant change, but it's based on understanding the strengths and what it was about the youth work that contributed to that change. It's a collaborative process, so it is about youth workers being part of the research team and about collecting those stories. It's definitely done with and not done to. It is a participatory methodology in which young people and youth workers are at the heart of. And it is focused on learning, and learning in this sense is learning for everybody. So it's learning for us as a research team, it's learning for the youth workers who are part of the research team, but it's about their professional development in taking part. For the young people, being able to have that reflective conversation about the impact that youth work's had on their lives. For the wider sector, you know, and for other sectors, as I explained, other stakeholders come along to hear the story. So really, it's learning in so many forms. A lot of people are learning from this process. Other important things to note, though, is that we're not looking for pre-agreed outcomes. So I know some of you described, which is brilliant, kind of doing surveys or, you know, kind of using indicators, and that can be really helpful for young people to be able to see kind of the difference that's being made, and you can kind of tick that off in maybe a quantitative form. This is a slightly different methodology because we're not doing that with this. It really is about young people sharing their story in their way, youth workers reflecting on that, and then it's about when we code the stories, it's about pulling out those key themes, understanding those impacts and those outcomes for young people. So it's really based on their words and their stories rather than going in with pre-agreed outcomes. As I mentioned as well, it is about a youth worker with an established relationship with the young person who collects the story. So unlike me, a stranger to them, going in, asking them about this as a researcher, we don't do that. We support the youth workers to be able to do that. And that means that the young person trusts the youth worker, they have the established relationship with the youth worker. And one of the things I should mention, when we ask them who, you know, about who they're going to collect the story from, we are asking for them to choose young people who they've had a relationship over time. So we're talking sort of months and years rather than days or weeks, ideally, that they will have built that relationship over time and really have a trusting relationship with them. And the final point here is just about the fact that it's as I've mentioned, a really reflective methodology. And so it does give the youth workers that time and space to really think about their practice and also to, you know, in a sense, congratulate themselves on what they've done and achieved and the impact that it's had for young people. It's a really good process, I think, for them to go to and reflect on. Thanks, Jill. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide. Thank you, that's brilliant. So just to share a little bit of kind of what we found through these studies. So as I mentioned, I'm reflecting on 4 of the studies. And when we came to looking at the impact on young people, we found one of the biggest things was about the increase in confidence. And so confidence in lots of different ways, but here a young person sharing the biggest change is becoming more confident, just talking to different people, standing up for myself, not being afraid to try new things. And that's a common thing that comes out about that connection with other people, feeling confident to go into a space where they don't know people and meeting new people and being able to do things that maybe make them a little scared sometimes. Another key impact was about skills. And here we're talking about lots of skills, but specifically skills for life and social skills. So by skills for life, we're meaning things like even budgeting, kind of how do you manage a budget on your own? How do you cooking skills, kind of all the kind of skills that are required in their daily lives. So they've definitely learned those. as well as social skills, so how to interact with other people. And here a young person shares, I took part in various youth leader training programs, which I think helped my CV as I wasn't great at school. So again, here, this is showing that differentiation between youth work and the school environment, and feeling that youth work could help support them when it came to their CV development. Thanks, Jill. Another one is about developing relationships, and this is by relationships we're meaning here with other peers, other young people, as well as adults in the youth work sector, but even outside of that as well, that it's helped them. And here a young person shares, I've definitely made more friends, like I know everyone and everyone knows me. And the final impacts, there's lots of impacts, but these are just the 4 that I've chosen. But the final one is about improved mental health and well-being. And we know that this is absolutely huge. And I know it was mentioned in the session before about youth work being life-saving. And definitely we have many stories where young people have said that youth work has saved their lives. And here a young person shares, I have really struggled with my mental health, from self-harming to anxiety. I feel like I've been through it all, and at some point struggled to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Youth work has opened my eyes in so many ways, getting one-to-one support on a regular basis from people who were willing to listen to me and who genuinely cared, and was just incredible. So we'll go to the final slide, please. And the final thing I just want to reflect on is about that process. So what is it that youth work's done that's contributed to those important outcomes and impacts for young people? And here are just a few, and there were many, but it is about building those long-term relationships, those relationships over time. It is about providing young people with that safe space to be themselves, safe space to be able to trust and talk to the youth workers and make connections with their peers. Youth workers as trusted adults, we know what a huge role that plays for young people, about providing opportunities, and that can be big or small. It can be about taking part in activities on a Monday night at the local youth club, or it could be going on foreign exchanges, or everything in between. There was so many examples of opportunities that have been provided, and tailored support. And you know, an important thing that young people shared was that the youth worker had got to know them over time, and then was able to tailor the support to make sure they were meeting their needs. So just to finish up, Bonnie is going to read us another story from a young person.
So this young person is age 25, and they said, it's always been something to keep me out of trouble and giving me somebody to talk to. Becoming a dad to be at 14 played a big part to where I am now. With the help of everyone at the youth club, they were always there to listen and guide me. I always felt welcome and supported, and enjoyed coming here every week with a bunch of my friends. And I'm definitely a more confident person because of coming here. And I feel like I've made better life choices. I've chosen a different path from all my old friends, a lot of which are in jail or worse. Even now, whenever I'm going through a rough time, I can always pop in for a cuppa and a chat, and I always leave feeling 10 times better.
Well done, Bonnie. Right, thanks everyone. I hope that's been helpful. Happy to answer any questions. Sorry, we didn't hear anything that was just
said.
Tell
me if I've got this right, but there's an interesting stage 4 of your 4-step evaluation, and just to find out a little bit more about what that looked like.
Yes, about the reflective element.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, well, basically, I mean, because we've done these 4 studies now, every time that we do a study, we take the time at the end to reflect on what's come before. And really, that was really important and helpful when it came to thinking about the LGBT study, where we were doing that in an online space. So we were always going through that process of learning, reflecting with the youth workers, and talking about how we could maybe make adaptations in the future. So yeah, so it's just really part of that kind of cyclical process of kind of reflecting on what's been said, what's happened, what we've learned, and then what we can take as our learning into the next stage. And that's definitely helped as well with this current study that we're doing now. Yes, so I hope that's helpful.
Any other questions people would like to ask?
Thinking from an impact point of view, in terms of your relationship with the Scottish Government, what's the, I guess, what do they care about? What are their big kind of particularly money winners? If you can demonstrate impact on X, Y, Z to get more funding, what would they be?
Will it lead to more independent votes?
Political development then.
So that's probably a broader question than just Amy, isn't it? Amy, did you hear that question?
Was that about Scottish Government priorities and what
Yeah,
they're
and
interested in
Yeah.
hearing?
If we could demonstrate impact in a particular way, what would would really influence them in terms of, I guess, funding and policy?
I think we wish we knew. I mean, we do know. I mean, and you know, I'll own the fact that I'm a qualitative researcher, so I'm much more interested in stories. I'm much more interested in hearing what young people have to say on this, and we know that stories can be really powerful. And I know I heard some of the feedback before, someone else mentioned that in the room, and really about putting young people at the heart. And I think that that does have an impact. And I know certainly with the 4 studies that we've done, that particularly the final 3, the Dumfries and Galloway one, the Edinburgh one, and the LGBT one, they've definitely used that as influencing tools in order to be able to influence particularly things like budgeting decisions, to show the impact that youth work's having. And I think it's helpful now we do have this kind of, I mean, like I said, with these studies, we are kind of taking it out, and we're not going in with pre-agreed outcomes, but it is helpful to be able to map it then. And I know Jill will come on to talk about that in terms of the National Youth Work Outcomes, and I think that is a helpful way of being able to talk to government about it.
I'd like to chip in briefly. So, I mean, we do youth work meets so many of the government outcomes and so many of the you know, the national outcomes in Scotland. I think we're show there are so many priorities. Young people's health and well-being, as has been mentioned many times over the course of this conference already, is critical priority. There's also a significant reform to education in Scotland, and we're working on demonstrating the role that youth work plays in young people's educational outcomes and development in its wider sense, and the importance of that wider learning and education alongside the formal routes. We've also, Amy did a study into the role of sort of the youth work sector in supporting young people through COVID as well, and I know that was well received, wasn't it? So there's lots. We've also, the SROI work that the UK Youth presented earlier, so we did something on that coming up about 8 years ago now. So I think there are lots of different impact areas that we can show how youth work contributes to the various agenda. I won't pick on that. Okay, but yeah, so that's already answered your question, but I think we can demonstrate, and when we talk about the framework later, it also links to I suppose there's a theory of change to those national outcomes for Scotland as well. There's a question in the back.
I just wanted to ask a bit more around the process. What kind of questions were kind of being used with young people? So what were the kind of questions to generate the stories and the kind of inception of the process?
Okay, I'll just repeat that question for Amy. Asking about the process, what kinds of questions were being posed to the young people?
Yeah, so the point of this is that it's actually just one question. And the question is something along the lines of, looking back, what change has occurred for you as a result of coming here? And here meaning the youth group or whatever context that is. And so the point of that one question is that the young person can then share their story in their way, in whatever way they're comfortable, and that they're not being led as well. So a lot of the training that we do with the youth workers is about how to ask that question, and how to ask that question in a safe space, how to prepare the young person for the question that's coming, but also how to adapt that question so that the young person will understand. So that question does need to be adapted sometimes if a young person, that's just not the language that they would use. So, but it's a very open question, and it's about a reflective conversation. But really, what we're encouraging the youth workers to do in that space is to take a step back, and to not we don't want them to go in and say, well, what about this? Have you not remembered this, this and this that you did? It's very much about the young person sharing their story in their way. And if they choose not to share different things, then that's totally fine. And then when the youth worker then contextualizes the story, so writes a separate statement that accompanies the young person's story, they can put a little bit more detail in if necessary. So they could give a little bit of context as to what maybe is happening in the life of the young person, or what that impact was from their perspective, as well as reflecting on their own practice. but it's, you know, I should explain that the young person checks everything. So if they're not comfortable with what the youth worker's written, or if they change their mind about their story, like, then everything can be stripped back. So it's about that kind of, the youth worker has a follow-up conversation with the young person to make sure that they're comfortable with everything's being shared and that all identifying features are also taken out.
Oh, sorry, it was just, can that be done in a creative way as well? Or is it just kind of more verbal? Can be done in any way that works for the young person?
Yeah, so what we found is that, so yes, it can be done in any way. So if the young person decided they wanted to do a drawing or a painting or sing a song or whatever, they can do it in any way that they want. But actually what we found is that young people generally choose to have a conversation with their youth worker. Sometimes they've chosen to write it down, and they've asked, rather than having a conversation, they've asked if they can write it and then show it to the youth worker. So, but yes, it can be done in any creative way that the young person chooses. Yes, yeah, to meet their needs.
Thank you.
One last question.
Hi, Amy. Hope you can hear me from this side of the room. We've just, here for Youth, we've just recently completed a study of about 1,400 Muslim millennials across the UK in terms of their identity and their belonging, things like that. But amongst all that data, there's a huge number of quantitative open text answers. Do you have any advice on, you mentioned coding those responses? Any, like, how do you go about coding data sets like that, or drawing out themes? Any tips?
Yeah, so we had a survey out during the lockdowns called Lockdown Lowdown. And that was a survey that went out to all young people across Scotland. We had thousands completed. I think there was, at one point, there was maybe 6,000 young people completed the survey. And we thought that young people wouldn't fill in the text boxes, so we included quite a few of them. And we were very naive, and they did include, they did, and yes, and it was, and I'll be really honest with you, and just to say that I found that a really emotionally challenging process, particularly because what they were talking about was the impact that lockdowns were having on their lives in so many different ways. And I've done a lot of research ethics work off the back of that, because sometimes you don't realise how affecting it's going to be when it's when it's a survey. So just to kind of say that. But in terms of the way that we approach that, we used Excel, and we kind of started to draw out the key themes. I was working with another person from Young Scott, and it really was a slightly old school approach to it, where we were marking an X every time a new theme would come up. We would put an X in the box so we could quantify the amount of times they were talking about the different themes. But this spreadsheet got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then just trying to kind of draw out any kind of key quotes that we thought would be particularly helpful to share. But it's a really challenging process when you're dealing with that much data. So I hope you've got a team to support you to do it.
Yeah, somebody suggested using ChatGPT, so we'll see how that goes.
Can I plug something here? We're just launching a new course that's been developed by Fife College in partnership with Youth Link Scotland, called the Youth Work Data course. We think it's the first in the world about how to use data science in youth work context. So it's free. It's starting in August. It's a sort of notional 30 hours of learning, 2 hours a week for 15 weeks. So there might be something of interest there. There might not. It may not replace that coding, but there might be ways that you can complement more traditional analysis methods with it. So you're all invited.
Yeah, and I'm happy to hear your tips. So if you come up with some really good ideas, please get in touch and let us know how you get on. I'd love to hear how that goes.
Thanks so much, Amy. Going to move on now and just talk finally about the National Youth Work Outcomes and Skills Framework. And Liz, I'm conscious some people at the back might not have these, so if you wouldn't mind, that would be great. And if you're online, some of these things don't work super brilliantly as slides, but there are QR codes on any of the very wordy slides that you can click through to, hopefully. So yeah, we have developed in Scotland something that we call the National Youth Work Outcomes and Skills Framework. And one of the questions that I'm often asked when I first start talking about this is, oh my goodness, do we really need another framework? We're very good, I'm sure, you know, in the context you're working in as well, we're very good at, in Scotland, creating frameworks to support education and young people's development. So importantly in Scotland, I guess, there's the Curriculum for Excellence, which works towards these 4 capacities of successful learners, confident individuals, effective contributors and responsible citizens. Also really noteworthy would be Getting It Right for Every Child, which looks at dimensions of well-being. And I suppose as a sector, we could have said, how does youth work feed into these frameworks that already exist and use the language that is already being kind of used out there in the system? But we chose not to do that. So we think it's really important that we know about those frameworks and that we can link the work that we do, but we also think it's really important that we're able to describe our work in a really distinct way. And so actually, Liz was telling me, I wasn't sure how long the National Youth Work Outcomes had been around for, but it's seven years since we developed our National Youth Work Outcomes, which are there on the left. And then more recently in 2020, again, kind of just from kind of conversations within the sector, we took a look at core skills that young people develop through youth work and developed our national skills framework. And for me, you know, when I first started working at YouthLink, and it's been said to during the conference a number of times, it's the sheer diversity of youth work that is just amazing, and it's its strength. But it also makes it quite tricky when it comes to trying to say, this is what we are doing collectively. So to me, these frameworks are about telling a story about what connects us in all of the diversity of our contexts. And we've refreshed, we've kind of taken a look at those frameworks again recently, mostly because within the sector, people were saying to us, these are both useful, but how do we put them together? But also because it felt like a moment in time for us in Scotland, as it probably did in other places, because of the role that youth work had played through COVID and the focus on education recovery. And there's a huge piece of work going on in Scotland at the moment around education reform and young people's employment opportunities. So it felt like a really important time for us to be saying, what is the ground that we cover collectively, and can we create a sort of common language for that as a sector? So when we came to look at that, I guess there's some really important things that we're kind of sitting behind. We're kind of part of the thinking that went into that very wide consultation with across our networks as a national agency. So we have a kind of local authority youth workers network, and we have a third sector, voluntary sector network, and we wanted to include all of them in the consultation. But we also wanted to build on the thoughtful consultation that had gone before. And actually, one of the reasons I think what we have works quite well is because it is informed by all of that wisdom that has come before, and because people have been using these things and they kind of worked out what works and what doesn't work. So building on that rather than starting afresh felt really important. And one of the things that's really important to me is this is always going to be an approximation. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to share all of that amazing nuanced stuff that you were talking about at the beginning of the session about the, you know, longevity of youth work impact or the joy of youth work, or, you know, all of these things. It's always going to be an approximation, and it's not a perfect version. But we wanted to create something that would give practitioners a balance of flexibility to use it in their own context, but also a bit of scaffolding and structure. We wanted it to be easy to use and for people to look at it and immediately be able to see, yeah, I can see how that's relevant in my context. And we really were looking at simplifying skills and indicators. We also took another look at the outcomes as we did that. And really importantly, we drew on the work that Amy had done with young people through the transformative evaluation in the meantime, since those frameworks were first developed, so that young people's voices were absolutely integral to what we were developing. And this is what we've ended up with. So really importantly, it's a practice model. It's not just an evaluation model, and it sits firmly within the nature and purpose of youth work as we describe that, and the frameworks that sit around youth work practice, so values and competencies and national occupational standards. And that's really important. And that's why on the little flyer you can kind of see it's almost like cogs. It's not. It's all joined up. And then I guess also to that point about what are the, what matters to the government, on the right hand side of the model you can see the some of the really key things that we support in terms of Scotland's national outcomes framework. But in the middle we have young people, the 11 core skills that we kind of see as the building blocks to those bigger youth work outcomes in blue. And we say, all of that sits within the context of our national policy, GERFEC, and Curriculum for Excellence, and in the context of UNCRC. But the outcomes are expressed in a way that really makes sense to youth workers. And importantly, and I guess in this phase of consultation, this is where a lot of the chat was. We've tried to create a really simple set of indicators, behavioural indicators, that can help practitioners when they're trying to kind of both set goals or desire, thinking about kind of their desired outcomes around pieces of work, but also in conversations with young people about what young people are hoping to get from the work and learning from the work. So it becomes a kind of common language. And the fact is you could create something like that was encyclopedic. I mean, kind of trying to break it down so that you have a very simple set of indicators was hard, and there are many, many things that we left out. So what we've said to practitioners is, this has been a really thoughtful piece of consultation, but it's not prescriptive. It's not, have to use it verbatim. Take it and change the indicators so that they work for you in your context. But it gives people a kind of starting point for that. And really importantly, it hopefully over time starts to create this sort of common language which young people are hearing and young people are kind of understanding as and then able to articulate the progress that they're making. And so in practice, that means that if you're just taking a single outcome like young people build their health and well-being, you might choose 2 or 3 skills that relate to that, and then a number of indicators that also relate to that in your context, and you might change the wording of some of those. And that becomes really important when you have something like our 4th outcome, which talks about young people participating safely and effectively in groups and teams, because actually there's loads of skills and loads of indicators that might be relevant to that. So part of embedding this in practice is about youth workers getting really confident to pick the stuff that's most relevant to them and to work with young people about the stuff that is of most interest to them, but also to come back to it. Like can be a back and forth process as well. This isn't about saying, here's what we're doing, here's what we've done. It's a conversation. It's a back and forth. And these are just a couple of examples of where those conversations have led in a couple of pieces of work. So this relates to some work that I've been involved in with a number of different youth work in schools partnerships, working in different local authorities across Scotland, doing targeted work around the Scottish Attainment Challenge. And they were able together to say, actually, there's a lot of commonality in what we are doing with young people. And they were able then to say, it's these particular outcomes that we're focused on, it's these particular skills. And really importantly, it's a quite sensible number of indicators that we might be looking to explore with young people. And they've added other things. So you'll see on the bottom there's something there around, which is not a skill, it's a bunch of skills probably, it's around readiness to learn, and something else around awards. So I guess what we're also saying is, it's not, this doesn't have to be the limit of what you measure, but hopefully it gives you something useful and kind of usable in your context. And this is just another example. So this is a Learning for Sustainability project. I suppose we quite often get, you know, that kind of frustration of, oh, there's, you know, we've got to work to the funders' outcomes rather than to our, you know, to our own outcomes. So I guess this just kind of shows how even where there's a funder involved and there's a clear set of outcomes that you're working to there, you can make the connections between that and the youth work outcomes, and then look at, you know, what are the indicators, but always coming back, always being looking for the surprises, I guess, the things that are unexpected, and always making sure that young people are part of that process of being clear about what, you know, what they're working towards. Which brings us back again to that whole thing of methods and the principles that sit behind the methods. So young people at the centre, strengths-based, collaborative, done with, not done to, and the kind of making sure that you use the data, that you're really focused on the learning that comes from the data. It's not an end in itself. And I suppose, you know, I don't think this is about creating a brand spanking new set of resources. This is about drawing on the strengths that youth workers have in terms of that relationship that they have with young people, the reflective conversations that they're able to have with young people as a result of that, and the professional observations that they're very skilled at. I think possibly where I'm pushing people is around this idea of triangulation of evidence, because I think we're probably quite good at hearing from young people in one way, shape or form. And we're probably quite thoughtful about our own observations, but in the work that I do around youth work and school partnerships, I'm going to say it's really important we hear from teachers. It's really important that we hear from parents and carers where we can, because actually then we start to understand not just what difference this work is making in the youth work context, but actually how that's translating beyond that and into other places and spaces. And for us as a national agency, that idea of common language is important. You know, if we can look at youth work across Scotland and start to be able to say cumulatively, this is some of the impact, and we're using a common language around that, I think that really helps to give the sector a voice and really helps us to advocate on behalf of the sector. But I'm really genuine when I say, like, I think, to be honest, these are nice to have things that come from this. The important thing is having a way of doing this work that helps young people, and we happen to think that this framework does that, helps them understand their strengths, helps them understand the progress that they're making, and what, you know, and kind of what their next steps are. So that is where we are, and we're in the early stages of embedding it. I think it's also fair to say it's not done dusted, and also it probably will change over time as well. Like, we're not going to be changing it every year, but I think it's really important these things go out and are used and then are informed by what practitioners and young people and others are telling us. So I guess it's a not finished, not intended to be finished process. 4 minutes. Anybody got any questions? Yeah.
See, in terms of the indicators you have marked there, what is the layer of evidence then that you will keep? So it's one thing to say that you know, with 20 people with good confidence. So what would you expect that measurement to be? So in our own practice, that could range from, you know, capturing photographic evidence, getting the testimonials and anecdotes from young people, to just being a straight written report completed by a worker. You know, may exemplify that. So sort of
it's all of those. Yeah, I think it's all of those things, and whatever works in the context that you're working in. And I don't doubt that there's some stuff that we could do that would help to kind of almost say, here are some really good examples of stuff. But I also really trust that youth workers do a lot of that stuff very well. But maybe just the time it takes to record, you know, like because we're in the work and we're with the young people, it's just almost it's making that systematic, isn't it? Yeah. Doing that regularly, not doing it at the end of things, being really mindful of that all the way through. Yeah.
and show an example of tech or data.
Yeah.
So there's a small youth work organisation in Dundee that has developed their own kind of data system, and the way that they do that evaluation, instead of doing like session recordings in the staff team or writing something very kind of separate from the young person, all of their recordings are letters to the young people, and it's so lovely. They write a letter to the young person after, to all the young people they've spoken to that night after the session, and that forms like their indicators and their data set, and it's really, and the young people can look at their letters anytime, and it's just an example of how they put like youth work heart into collection. And I think the youth workers and the young people both really like that part of their relationship.
Right, thanks very much. The skills framework obviously can be applied across the board, not just in youth work. So have you found in Scotland that or have you linked up with, for example, Department of Education? Because some of it obviously falls under the education category, and is there a coordination?
So what, in terms of its beginnings, the skills framework, I'd say it very much came from the partnerships that we have with education, kind of noticing that the language of skills was where we could find, it's very easy for teachers to get behind that sort of language. So we're using it a lot in youth work and schools partnerships. I don't think we can yet say it's coordinated. And perhaps the other thing to say is, feels really important that it's not just picked up and used by teachers, for example. It feels like the fact that it's part of a youth work approach is fundamental. So where it links to partnership, I think it can be massively useful. But there's also something about ensuring that it stays, that the integrity of it within a youth work setting is kept as well.
And is it done as a self-evaluation by young people? Is that an app for it?
We haven't done anything like that, and I'm probably quite wary of anything that could end up being used as a sort of pitboxy thing. But there are, people are trying things out. We've got a kind of skills wheel type idea, a bit like the wellbeing wheel that youth workers are using up in Dundee. So different teams will try different things, and then we'll kind of try and take the best of what works from that.
Have you come across the skills builder framework?
I have.
So they've got like an app where you can judge yourself, and then you get like a score.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. And it may be that something like that is, feels like a sensible thing to develop over time, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, we've been looking for a way to apply skills development like this across the different sites we have and exploring.
Yeah. Makes sense. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. It's been great. And we're here, so if you have any immediate questions, come have a chat. If not, you know where we are. So I'm really happy to hear from people later.